Hi, this is Marilyn Lohman, Service Hydrologist at WFO Pendleton. I'll be reviewing the mountain snowpack for the current water year and the water supply forecast for the coming spring and summer. This map is produced by the Natural Resource Conservation Service and shows the percent of normal snow water equivalent, or the amount of water being held in the snowpack, for the various basins across the state of Washington. The snow season was off to a slow start with a few storms in October and November, and some very warm temperatures in November depleted much of that snowpack. We made some gain in December, but once again the 1st of January showed some warm temperatures. As of January 1st, the upper and lower Yakima basins were well below normal, with 48 and 55% of normal. The Walla Basin in southeast Washington was slightly better at 70% of normal. Next, we'll take a look at a few locations within the various basins to see how the individual site's snowpack is faring. These charts show the snow water equivalent, or water held in the snow, for the water year October through September. The blue line is the maximum observed, while the red line is the minimum, with the green line being the average. When we look at these charts, we can see how the snow water equivalent accumulates throughout the winter and spring and compare it to average. The Touchet Snotel site is in the Walla Basin around 5,500 feet. Looking at the black line, we can see that this site saw accumulation during the last half of December, but remains below normal. The Sasse Ridge Snotel site is located in the upper Yakima Basin at about 4,200 feet. Looking at the black line, this site saw an increase late in December as well, but also remains quite far below normal. The Bumping Ridge Snotel site is around 4,600 feet in the central Washington Cascades. Looking at the black line, we can see that this site has gotten very little in the way of snow so far this season and is well below normal. Across the Oregon portion of the region, we can see the snow water equivalent map from the NRCS. As of January 1st, the snowpack was generally below normal. The northeast Oregon mountains range from around 70% in the Umatilla Basin to 98% of normal in the Grande Basin. The Cascade Mountains, including the Deschutes and Crooked Basins, are well below normal, with amounts from 35 to 45% of normal. We'll look at some individual sites across the region in the next several slides. In the lower Deschutes Columbia Basin area, Clear Lake Snotel is at an elevation of 3,500 feet. Looking at the black line, the current year observation, this fairly low elevation site has gotten little snow so far this year and remains well below normal. In the upper Deschutes Basin, the Three Creek Meadows Snotel site is at about 5,600 feet. Looking at the solid black line, we can see that this site had little accumulation of snow during December and is also well below normal. For the Grande Basin, we can look at the Blue Mountain Springs Snotel site at 5,900 feet. This location saw a large accumulation of snow in the mid to late December period, and as of January 1st was near normal. For the Umatilla Basin in the Blue Mountains, we can look at the High Ridge site at 4,900 feet. Looking at the black line, we can see that this site was increasing through the mid to late part of December and is slightly below normal. In the Grand Ronde Basin, the Moss Springs Snotel site is at 5,800 feet. Looking at the black line, there were some problems with the data at the very end of December. But ignoring the spikes, we can see the overall increase in snowpack, with this site near normal. The Northwest River Forecast Center uses Ensemble Streamflow Prediction, or ESP generated forecasts, as the official water supply method. The 30-year runoff normals covering the years 1981 to 2010 are being used. New ESP forecasts will be published on the Northwest River Forecast Center's website at a minimum of once per week, but may be updated daily at the discretion of the River Forecast Center. For updated forecasts and more information on ESP forecasts, please see the River Forecast Center's website at the address given. This map is from the Northwest River Forecast Center and shows some of the water supply points across the Pacific Northwest. We can see that the locations in northern Idaho, northern Washington, and southern Canada, marked with the green and blue dots, are forecast to be near or slightly above normal. Locations along the Cascades, as well as southeast Oregon and southern Idaho, are forecast to be generally below normal. We'll take a look at a few sites within the Pendleton area of responsibility. For the Yakima River system, we'll take a look at the Yakima River near Parker. Looking at the plot, the solid green line is the 30-year normal. The box plots show the entire range of forecast values, with the blue dot the 50th percentile or most likely value. We'll be using that 50th percentile and comparing it to normal. The forecast takes into account the next 10 days of forecasted precipitation and then normal precipitation throughout the rest of the season. The volume forecast for the Yakima River near Parker is currently below normal at 81% of average, and this is due to the low snowpack at this time. For the Grand Ronde River at Troy, the forecasted volume of water, looking at the blue dot, is expected to be at about 91% of normal. This is based on having normal precipitation amounts throughout the rest of the year. For the Umatilla River at Pendleton, for the period April through September, the forecast volume is to be 93% of average. This forecast is based on the current conditions and normal precipitation throughout the rest of the year. For the site Columbia River at the Dalles, once again we see the average plotted in green with the most likely value the blue dot. The volume for the April through September period is expected to be around 98% of normal. The previous seen plots and additional water supply locations are available in an interactive form on the Northwest River Forecast Center's website at the address listed on the concluding slide. The 3-month outlook from the Climate Prediction Center for January, February, and March calls for above normal temperatures and equal to slightly increased chances of below normal precipitation. The latest drought monitor continues to show extreme drought for southeast Oregon, and while there were some improvements throughout the spring and summer months, much of the region remains in moderate to severe drought conditions. For more information on the unseasonably dry and drought conditions both here in the Northwest and across the country, please visit the National Integrated Drought Information System webpage at the address above. You can view the drought monitor, look at current and forecasted conditions, as well as impacts from drought, and also find resources relating to drought. Additional water supply forecasts and interactive forecasts are available at the Northwest River Forecast Center's webpage. And if you have any questions, please contact me by email or phone, and join me again in February for another look at the snowpack and a look at the water supply forecasts for the coming spring and summer. Thank you.